And who are we waiting for? The one who shut the door. Since I still have my question, and until I get an answer, I'm gonna press it. Everything returns to the earth. That's why there's great worth at birth. And who are we waiting for? The ones who shut the door. I still have my questions. Until I get an answer, I'm gonna press it.
Thank you for inviting me into your process, but I believe that my voice has no value to the conversation about racism. As far as I can tell, I have not been affected by racism. I do my own thing all around the city. People don't bother me. What you call racism, I call disease. And that came here 500 years ago. We lost that war. And at first it was like a rash on our wrist. And by the time we had realized that we got it, we had lost our whole arm, and now there is little flesh left. And we have been watching you people kill each other to see who's going to be on top, who's not going to be on the bottom.
Everything returns to the earth. That's why there's great worth at birth.
But you are killing each other. And while I have been in the theater with you today, I have lost 4 hours of sunlight. I can never get that back. The disease, it came from the European, and you are still living in these European buildings with 90-degree angle lines. In nature, there's no such thing as a straight line. So I admire your drive, but again, your play is not going to change your disease. See you around. Lokshai. Robert Wapaki Mani.
So who are we waiting for? The one who closed the door. 'Cause my question is a simple one. Why does suffering happen to anyone? I asked these questions long ago. Well, we all know that life is too short to waste it. I'm not interested, and yet I can't seem to. Trying to fake it.
With the death toll over 62,000 Americans, the president today suggested, when looked at another way, it's not so bad, and I quote, our death totals, our numbers per million people are really very, very strong. We're the leader of the world. We're really the leader in this case, the leader of the world, and we've done better. If you look at our deaths, if you look at mortality rates, if you look at the things about our current situation in this pandemic, this is what it is. It's this period of time. The Trump administration's coronavirus efforts continue to get positive reviews from Trump himself. Quote, I have to say it because the news is so fake and so corrupt. We did a spectacular job. The president said today
Past tense. I talk to you every day. The words you try to say are reminders of the games they play. And why I made a choice to not be that way. However you want to say all the things you need to spray, I'm not trying to persuade. I'm explaining why I am this way. Is how I got back to breathing. And what I'm told is words poetry are the best things in the world. How absurd that I lost them this troll. And that's why everything is positioning and body movement for their lives that I never suspect. The reason I'm so happy to make these noises. Oh dear Lord. Oh dear Lord. Oopsies. Everything falls. And that's a reminder to break my thoughts. Alright, thank you. We'll go on to part 3 now. So we have this knowledge, and only a few, only some will get through college. So we gotta help everyone succeed, live the best life they can. Let's call it a basic need. And I'm about to attach my face and voice and body to this. A final composite, because every day you can leave your house and get the thing that people don't understand now is after violence. A final composite, because every day you can leave your house and get the thing that people don't understand now is after violence, the impact of others. I haven't even started because I've not even begun to talk about it because of the fear that it here that will no longer be there, because I made myself crystal clear when you were in my house, my home, my workplace, a classroom that I was never given. So instead my kids had to roam. Well, that's the metaphor. And why are you going to education? Because you want to help kids get elevated, beat this frustration of life, because I've lived before. If you want to spread knowledge, that's what you go into, education. But not anymore. Hey. Get the money out, let's raise our voices and kick 'em out. Penetrating. To let it go doesn't happen so easily. Here we go in the snow, get prepared, the cold wind blows. I live in Chicago. Never could say it before. One final piece of art, but together I believe we can solve them. To put this away, not recognizing that triggers are going to be every day, so every day is going to have to be an artful, creative way to play. Wait for an L, because that is the only thing that means elevated train. Since I decided these brain drains will never rain, because we gotta get back to the earth. That means the dirt. That means hard work. But also we gotta be smarter. And I'm about to attach my face and voice and body to this.
President of basketball operations, owners, a lot of whom I've spoken to, they're hell-bent on making sure that they have a season, if at all possible, not at the risk of endangering an abundance of people. Please don't get me wrong. Safety first, always. But in the end, they're confident they'll be able to have something, because you have to remember 85% of the season was completed, or at least 75% of the season was completed prior to the league being suspended. Their mentality is you sacrifice the rest of the regular season, you come back, prepare yourself for about a week or two practicing or what have you, and then you go about the business of having an NBA playoffs. Certainly you're not contemplating having it with anyone in attendance, because that would be too risque. But for the players themselves to play without fans in attendance, knowing that millions upon millions of people will be watching it over the national television airwaves, that is something that would suffice. They obviously have discussed it, and the players themselves, like LeBron James, but the people employed by the league living check to check, whether it's the National Football League, Major League Baseball, it's the NBA, it's the UFC, boxing, etc., etc.
Right.
These are all things that are being asked, which is why people pay themselves to move forward, because they know they can't stand still and do nothing but wait for a vaccine. They're not going to do that.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told a radio station he wants baseball to get back on the field. Take a listen.
I called the commissioner of baseball a couple of weeks ago, and I said,
related over social media earlier in the week, the players themselves are preparing themselves to be ready to have a postseason, in all likelihood beginning in early July and going through the month of
all
August.
of the officials I've spoken to as well, the team owners like Mark Cuban or Michael Rubin, they've all said safety first. And yet, we saw the NBA send out this league-wide memo asking...
California Supreme Court sweeping decision that may put everyone here out of a job.
Most barbershops only have one door to come inside, but every barber, every chair, it's its own business. But the Supreme Court says now they need to become employees.
The barbers, like Paul Castro, don't work for the shop. They just rent the chair and split the bills.
We take down costs together as a whole. And people forget that. We work together as a whole to take it down so we can singly, work in our stations comfortably.
Under the new rule, this business model isn't allowed. All the barbers have two options. The first is to become hourly employees, but Castro says that won't work.
We wouldn't be able to stay afloat if we had to charge what we really had to charge hourly, or what we would have to get paid hourly.
The other option is to become their own businesses in their own buildings, but Castro says that won't work for customers.
I mean, double, triple, yeah, it wouldn't work out. The haircut would be a lot more.
But more than anything, Castro says this rule will destroy the barbershop atmosphere and experience, and without those, he isn't sure he even wants to be a barber. Now, this doesn't only affect barbers. It impacts every contract worker like personal trainers, tattoo artists, and a lot of other people working.
So the memory that has been stuck and unable to get out was that I got documentation of my ex-husband having a LLC, a limited liability corporation, under the name of Sumo Suit. So he wanted to write off things that he bought for his office. So he's able to work from home for his job because he's in tech. He also can wear shorts and a t-shirt, which we talked about a lot too, because his father would talk about the fact he had to wear a suit every day, and that's what he really hated about work. And I totally understand. I wouldn't wear a suit, that's for sure. Anyway, he creates a fake company to say that he's working from home for tax purposes, which reminds me that I almost lost my home because the taxes weren't paid for a number of years. I was informed about it, and so I took care of it. But then that reminded me of how many years he was in my house. I'll put our car insurance on my home insurance. You're paying $1,800 in rent, and then we'll get into our new house, right?